Please join me in Gassho. The ultimate expression of gratitude is the saying of the name, Namo Amida Butsu, acknowledging the good karmic circumstances that have blossomed into the true and real life of Nembutsu. Gratitude on the conventional level is a response to favors, kindness, and good fortune received from others. But gratitude on the religious level is an affirmation of the gift of life itself, whether we are young or old, poor or wealthy, in good health or bad, living alone or surrounded by loved ones. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandots, 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 Namandots. Good morning. I've been thinking a lot about change lately. And I often joke that, especially with respect to the temple, that despite being Buddhists, change is often really hard for us. We don't like change. And maybe it's harder because we know intellectually that change, impermanence is a fundamental teaching of Buddhism. It's one of the major insights of the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. Nothing stays exactly the same forever. And yet emotionally, it's not always so easy to accept this. It's not always so easy to let go. So many of us are struggling with change in the present moment. Some of us are struggling with the change of job, income, or housing insecurities. Some of us are struggling with the change in socialization, the change from not regularly visiting with family and friends, sharing meals and hugs. And there's the change in the restriction in movement. Right here in San Francisco, we have our continuing stay-at-home orders in order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19. Some are struggling with the change of not being able to be in the temple, to offer incense, to chant together, and to sing together. And some of us are struggling with the change of saying goodbye to our soon-to-be retired resident minister, Reverend Ron Kobata. Change is not always easy to accept, and it's not always easy to let go. And yet, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, without change, without impermanence, nothing is possible. Without impermanence, nothing is possible. That's so profoundly true. And so the challenge is accepting and appreciating the reality of change, the reality of impermanence that arises throughout our life. I think the problem is that we usually appreciate only half of the cycle of impermanence. We can accept birth, but not death. We can accept gain, but not loss. Things are changing all the time. Some of these changes we grasp after, and some of these we push away. True accepting, and some say liberation, comes from appreciating the whole cycle and not just grasping onto those things we find agreeable. In reality, everything changes and nothing, including ourselves, is separate from that. Gratitude is acknowledgement of this condition, this intricate, interdependent network of change we call life. And maybe for this reason, it's central to spiritual practice. Gratitude requires that we look outside ourselves. Isn't that what the teachings are inviting us and encouraging us to do? To go beyond self-centeredness, to go beyond our egotistical self-cherishing, to break down that illusion of duality between me and you, us and them. Gratitude is a state of mind that arises when we affirm something happening in our life that comes from outside ourselves, when we notice it and appreciate it. And it can arise when we realize that we are all supported and sustained by both known and unknown compassionate activity. So expressing gratitude can indeed change our way of seeing ourselves and our world. In the opening quote that I read, written by the late Reverend Taitietsa Uno, he speaks of gratitude from the perspective of Buddhism's doctrine of the two truths, the two levels of truth or reality. First, he speaks of the truth of gratitude from the relative, conventional, everyday, common sense level. And then he speaks of gratitude from the ultimate or religious level. Quote, "The ultimate expression of gratitude is the saying of the name, Namo Amida Butsu, acknowledging the good karmic circumstances that have blossomed into the true and real life of Nembutsu," unquote. Shini-sama, Shinran's wife, succinctly explained how gratitude would express itself in the life of a Nembutsu follower. In letter number 5, she quotes Shinran as saying, "The repayment of the Buddha's blessing is to believe the teaching for oneself, and then to teach others to believe. This is the most difficult of difficulties." Namanda. I am so grateful for the good karmic circumstances that brought Reverend Kobata to the Buddhist Church of San Francisco 11 years ago. He has not only been our teacher, our guide, our inspiration on this path of Nembutsu, but he's also been our friend. For me personally, he's been a really special teacher. Not the kind who stands in front of you and lectures about what is proper or improper, but one who teaches by example, how he walks in his truth, how he lives the true and real life of Nembutsu each and every day. In the words of Shinran, such persons are like those who, imbued with incense, bear its fragrance on their bodies. They may be called those adorned with the fragrance of light. Fragrance of light, as Reverend Uno has explained, is a metaphor for wisdom, an inner quality that appears in the person of Nembutsu, in contrast to those who merely follow the formalities of religion. I am beyond grateful to Reverend Ronald Kengu Kobata for sharing his fragrance of light. BCSF has been imbued by this fragrance, this warm light, and has been changed for the better because of it. May we appreciate all the wonderful lessons and teachings that Reverend Kobata has generously offered through these many years, and offered them in a myriad of kind and gentle ways. And may we continue to bask in the fragrance of this light. My favorite gatha is Ondokson from the Hymns of the Dharma Ages, again written by our founder, Shinran. And I'm not going to sing it to you right now, but as I bring today's reflections to a close, I would like to share the lyrics of Shinran's words of gratitude with you. Such is the benevolence of the Buddha's great compassion, that we must strive to return it even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and true Dharma teachers, that we must endeavor to repay it, even to our bones becoming dust. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandots, 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 Namandots. Please stay healthy and safe. And please be sure to check back in on Sunday, August 30th for Reverend Kobata's last Dharma talk as the resident minister of the Buddhist Church of San Francisco. We all wish him a retirement full of golf, grandkids, social justice endeavors, and more golf. Thank you for joining in today's service.